Hello, it's Jim from JetsonX.com. Today we are going to save some gigabytes. The new Jetson Nano 2GB uses the LXDE desktop environment. It saves about a gigabyte in memory in comparison to GNOME, the default desktop environment. A machine like the Jetson Nano could benefit from an extra gigabyte of memory, so let's set it up to do that. This should work with all of the other Jetsons also, except of course the Jetson Nano 2GB, which is already set up to use LXDE. This is a straightforward process if you are using JetPack 4.4.1 or above, and it's a little bit harder if you are using JetPack 4.4 and below. I've written some convenience scripts to help us in this case. Let's take a look at JetPack 4.4.1 first. Okay, let's take the easy case first. JetPack 4.4.1 already has our lightweight desktop environment installed. Let's switch over to that desktop environment. Let's close this up. Let's see how many bytes of memory are free right now. We can do this in one of several ways. Let's open up a terminal and we will type free. So we can see that we are using 1,470,504 bytes. We can also look at this in a system monitor. And we can see that we're using about 1.7 gigabytes right here. In order to switch over to our lightweight desktop environment, we need to log out. This is called a greeter. If we hit the little gear icon down here, we can look at our settings. We are currently in Unity, which is a GNOME shell, and we want to select LXDE. Password, and let's sign in. And you can see that we switched over to a different desktop environment. Let's open up a terminal. And we'll type free again. We can see that we're using 1,143,304 bytes. Let's take a look in the system monitor. System tools. And we see that we are using 1.1 gigabytes. So that's about 600 megabytes different so far. If we take a look at our services, GDM3 is the current display manager that we are using. We want to use LightDM. That kind of matches LXDE. To do that, let's clear this off. And let's do this. Sudo password. And we want to change our default display manager from GDM3 to LightDM. And we hit carriage return. And now we need to reboot. Let's reboot. You notice that we have a different greeter. It's the one that comes with LightDM. We're using LXDE. That's good. Password. You should notice a speed up on the login and boot up sequence. It's probably about 10 or 15 seconds on a Jetson Nano. Let's open up a terminal. Free. And we are down to 541,768. Take a look at our system monitor. Resources. And we're down to 708 megabytes. In comparison to Unity GNOME, that's about a savings of a gigabyte of memory. We can use that for all sorts of fun things. Here we are using JetPack 4.4.1, which is L4T 32.4.4. If you're using an earlier version of JetPack, then the sequence to do this is different. Let's go over that. Okay, we're on a fresh install of JetPack 4.4 on a Jetson Nano. This is L4T 32.4.3. Let's take a look at the free memory. Yeah, it's about 1.5 gigabytes. Let's open up a web browser. Let me arrange a couple of things here. On the Jetson Hacks account on GitHub, there is a repository named install LXDE. Let's clone that repository. And switch over to that repository's directory. This is pretty straightforward. Let's look at our script. These are the packages that you need to install to run LightDM, Compton, and LXDE. Compton is the compositor for LightDM. We install our packages, and then we install a file which tells LXDE to use Compton as the window compositor. And this last line here will copy a desktop shortcut to LX terminal. Let's run our script. Password. Now we are ready to choose our display manager. Hit carriage return. Okay. Do we want to use LightDM as our display manager? Carriage return. Okay. Okay, now we can reboot for the changes to take effect. This is a good sign. We have a different greeter. Let's choose LXDE. Password. Yes, please. And you can see that we have an LXDE desktop. You notice we don't have a custom background. Let's open up a terminal. Free. And we're using about 500 megabytes here. So a significant savings. Let's take a look at the system monitor. $667. So that's about right. Let's set up a background. Right-click on the desktop. Preferences. Appearance. Wallpaper. None. How about if we type in /user share backgrounds. Carriage return. And here's all of our backgrounds. The standard ones that they use is NVIDIA wallpaper. There's a whole set of them here, of course. You can pick and choose the ones that you like or add your own. We'll go back to the standard NVIDIA one. Close. Here's the desktop shortcut we added. As you can see, the desktop environment is slightly different than GNOME. Let's take a look at this. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have the menu. Next to that, we have an application launcher. This is for the file manager. These are desktops that you can select. The menu bar is configurable, so let's take a look at that. Under panel settings, you can determine if you want it on the bottom or the top. Let's set like GNOME, we'll hit top. We can adjust the height of the bar. We'll leave it at 30 for the moment. We can change the appearance. We can use the system theme or a solid color with opacity. Or we can use an image. Here's where we select the items in the menu. Here's the menu itself. Application launch bar, so when we look at its preferences, we can see the file manager that we've selected and the web browser. There's a spacer, minimize all windows, that's a function, desktop pager, taskbar, the volume control, the system tray, that's kind of systems related things, the clock, and there's another application launch bar. We can add and remove as we want. If we look at the second application launch bar, we see that there's a screen lock and the logout. So let's close that up. One of the things that we are missing in the system tray in comparison to the 4.4.1 release is MVP model. So let's add that. Let's close this up. Open up our menu. Preferences. Default applications for LX session. Here's where we set up all the applications for launching. We kind of have defaults for those. We go to auto start. Here's the applications it knows about. Here it is, NVIDIA MVP model indicator. So let's turn that on. We'll close that up. We'll need to log out and log back in would be my guess. Let's try that. Switch user. Let's just log out first. Password. And there it is. Power mode, run Tegra stats, settings. Let's add the system monitor to the application launcher. Panel settings, panel applets. We'll add it to the first one. Preferences. We'll just add it. You can see it shows up here. Let's close that and close this one. We'll launch our system monitor. Now we have this running on this particular desktop. If we switch to desktop number 2, let's hop over there. You can see that it's different. So let's start an application up. We just run a calculator. So one of the concepts is you have different desktops for different tasks and you can switch back and forth between them easily. We can set all sorts of different preferences, customize the look and feel. Icon themes, color, mouse cursor, window borders. Oh, nightmare. That sounds like something I'd use. Oh, that's hideous. Kind of like it. Oh, I like this. Nightmare 2. Let's apply that. This is the file manager. All the while saving memory. Gotta like that. That should get you started. We saved 1 GB from the clutches of the desktop manager. Hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have not already, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Oh, and stay safe.